Today we are going to learn about the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. In what better way than with food? There are four basic layers: the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Let's start with the layer closest to the Earth, the troposphere. Here, my plate represents the Earth's surface, and the ladyfingers represent the troposphere, which is the layer in which we live. It is also known as the weather sphere because basically all weather, like rain and precipitation, happens in this layer. Temperature drops as you rise in the troposphere. The average is for every kilometer you go up, the temperature drops about 6.5 degrees Celsius. Air pressure, which is just the weight of the air above a certain point, also drops as you rise through all the layers of the atmosphere. It drops very quickly near the Earth's surface, but the rate slows the higher you go. The troposphere is not the same thickness all around the Earth. It is a little thicker in the tropics near the equator and is a little thinner at the poles, but the average is out to about 12 kilometers thick. To give you an idea of how high that is, Mount Everest is almost 9,000 kilometers tall. More than 50% of the entire atmosphere is just squished into just over 5.5 kilometers of the troposphere, which explains why the air is so thin that climbers need to use oxygen when they are nearing the summit of Mount Everest. It is almost as high as the troposphere. Once you reach the upper limits of the troposphere, the boundary is called the tropopause. The next layer of the atmosphere is the stratosphere. Here, you see there's a new layer on our atmosphere cake. It is pudding with banana slices in the middle. The pudding represents a stratosphere. Just a little way into the stratosphere, at an altitude of about 16 kilometers, we have gone through 90% of the atmosphere. Air pressure is still falling, but after about 30 kilometers up, the change is microscopic. Once we are in the stratosphere, the temperature levels out until around 20 kilometers, which is where we find the ozone layer, our bananas. This is where the temperatures rise sharply until the next atmospheric layer starts. In this upper level of the stratosphere, this is where most commercial jets fly. The upper boundary is at about 50 kilometers and is called the stratopause. Mesosphere is our next layer and is represented here by the strawberries. Temperatures again decrease, and in the upper mesosphere, where we find the coldest temperatures in the atmosphere, it can drop to almost negative 90 degrees Celsius. Air pressure is just a fraction of the air pressure at sea level. At this time, this is the least explored layer because weather balloons and planes cannot reach it, and satellites orbit too high to gather information. So now we are at the top of the mesosphere around 80 kilometers, the mesopause. But wait, what are these blueberries? Well, this is where you find meteors. They travel through the lower part of the next layer and through the mesopause and into the mesosphere, where they usually burn up. The outermost layer of our atmosphere is the thermosphere. This layer has no definite outer boundary, but I can't put unlimited whipped cream on our cake. Once in the thermosphere, temperatures rise to higher than 1,000 degrees Celsius, mainly because of the solar radiation absorbed in this layer. There is a special piece to this layer between 80 kilometers and 400 kilometers. It is called the ionosphere. This is where you find the aurora borealis, the northern lights, and the aurora australis, the southern lights. And that is the final piece to our atmosphere cake. Some colorful sprinkles to represent the beauty of the aurora borealis. Who knew the atmosphere could be so pretty and yummy? Shut it off.